What's good? What's good? What's good? It's your man, 100 grand Ross with the Rock Never Stops. Today we got the rewatch. We have got the rewatch. Detroit Pistons and Boston Celtics. It's something that I started doing a little bit ago, doing a rewatch and kind of a film breakdown and analysis of the previous game that we faced against a team that we're currently about to face. We have the Boston Celtics coming up Monday night. We got 2 days off. I think that's more than enough time to prepare, especially after 5 days off. And if I'm honest with you, I think that alone, the time for preparation, should be more than enough reason to believe that the Detroit Pistons are going to walk through the Boston Celtics. I don't care how hot they are, right? Third best team in the East, doing their thing. Jaylen Brown, MVP candidate, right? I have him just above Cade right now in the MVP ladder. I would say this: what Boston is doing, I'm not going to undersell. I'm not going to act like it's no small feat. What I am going to say is clearly as day that Detroit is just better. They're just better. The Detroit Pistons are a better team, period. And with 2 days off, to prepare for the Boston Celtics, I don't see how we don't walk through that game and come out the victors. Now I'm going to cue it up. Let me get my dates and stats and analytics. We gonna get into all of it. Aaron Brown, is good to see you in the chat. Back again, back again. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Salute to the chat. Salute to the chat. Yo, as always, as folks trickle in, please do me the big favor of doing a small thing for me and hit the like button. Helps out with the channel a whole lot. Remember, it's a small thing for you, but a big thing for the channel. So I really appreciate all the love and support that y'all continue to give this channel. Have a lot of fun doing these videos. Um, right now, sorry, I'm going to queue up. I got to grab the, let's see, schedule here. Pulling up my data points. We got the Celtics on Monday. The last time we faced the Celtics was on November 26th. And the Boston Celtics beat us by 3 points. Beat us by 3 points. So I'm going to queue it up here. Pull up the game. And we're going to get into it. I've got about an hour today before I have a meeting at 9:30. So we may not get through the full game, but I don't think we need to. And I'm going to try to move through it swiftly, actually, because I would like to, if it's possible, to get through the full game. But let's just say this. There's a lot that we can learn about this team. And I keep saying over and over that the Detroit Pistons are in a place right now where we're really just playing against ourselves. When you have a team that's this talented, it's no longer about uh, who you beat, when you beat them, you know, necessarily even what your standings are in your within your conference or within the NBA win-loss column. It's no longer about um, even if you have home court advantage and all that stuff. We are in the stage where it is purely about analyzing just how good this team can be. We've already gone past the developmental stage. That was last season. We're trying to develop guys. This season is about an analysis. This is what Trajan Langdon talked about. It's what JB Bickerstaff talked about. We are analyzing just how good is this team? Just how good are we? Now, in this game, I want to say, let me scroll back. I want to see how many games had Jaden Ivey and Tobias Harris been back before this game. So I'm going to go back a little bit because I believe they had not been back that many games. I'm going to scroll back a few games before then. Just check the player stats and see if I see either of them. Nope, I don't. This might have been their first game back, which is significant because it speaks to if they were in a rhythm, if they were playing the way that we see them playing right now, if Boston might have just caught us on an off night type of a deal, um, which is very common. It's very common. Let me see. Here we go. When did they come back? Now, I will say this. Jaylen Brown averaging 28 points, 5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 51% shooting from the field. I believe close to 40% from the three-point line. It's no slouch. It's no slouch. Okay, so they were back the previous game against the Pacers. I believe that what Jaylen Brown was able to do against us was legit. I'm not gonna discount that. He's been doing that the entire season. He's been doing that the entire season. Um, so I don't want to minimize that because I know a lot of people on here, on their channels are gonna talk shit about the other team. Man, this guy is nothing. Man, our guy is so much better. Look, I give props to where props is due. All right, I've already done a little short video on Jaylen Brown. I think he's having a phenomenal year. Kudos to him, proving to everybody that, hey, I am legit. I am him. There's a reason why I was an NBA Finals MVP. There's a reason why I was the Eastern Conference Playoffs MVP when they won that championship. There's a reason why he is who he is. And so I don't want to minimize that and act like it was no big deal. I'm just saying collectively, from top down, when you look at the roster, when you look at who they are, you look at who we are, it's not close. It's not close. And they have talent. They have talent. They have talent. Okay, so it looks like Ivey and Tobias Harris have been back for 2 games. Okay, I just wanted to look that up really quick. One of the things that I like to do is I like to just go through the roster briefly, see who's playing, see who's not. And most of the times you can tell who is going to win the game based upon just how much talent both teams have. Right? You go, who's your best player? Okay, Jaylen Brown. Who's the best player for the Pistons? Cade Cunningham. Okay, who's better? I'd probably say Cade is more talented for sure. Jaylen Brown is just more refined. He's 29 years old, been in the league, been around, right? Got a super max deal, 2 contract extensions. He's done his thing. Then you go to the next best player on the Boston Celtics, Derrick White. Okay, who's the next best player on the Detroit Pistons? Well, this is where it gets interesting. Because when you look at Jalen Duren, look at Asar Thompson, you would say, okay, I would say it's almost about a wash in terms of who is that next player. Offensively, for sure, is Jalen Duren. Carries more of a load to score points. But if you really look at it, also, Asar Thompson and his impact defensively is highly, highly relied upon to carry this team. Asar Thompson carries our defense. And I mean it in the best way. Not that we don't have other good defenders. Not that we don't have Isaiah Stewart, right? Probably the best rim protector in the game, one of the best interior defenders in the game in the NBA right now. What we have is Asar Thompson's disruption and his ability to create havoc and chaos and turnovers, his ability to shut down other offensive players. We can put him on that guy and be like, yeah, that's all you. We're not going to really help a lot. We're going to trust you to lock them down. And a major hurdle within that was, can Asar Thompson mature as a defender and be able to defend in a way that allows you to sustain yourself, meaning he's not reaching in, not getting called for little ticky-tack fouls, so he doesn't get in foul trouble so that he can continue to be able to perform the way that he is. Now, I'm just about ready to start this game. I want to dive all the way into it. It's just going to be a film breakdown, uh, talking about starting lineups. Jordan Walsh, I believe he's getting one of his first starts of the season here against the Detroit Pistons. They start him off against Cade Cunningham, and they start Asar Thompson against Jaylen Brown. The tip-off has just happened. Tip-off has just happened. Yeah, we're diving all the way in. If you haven't already queued up your league pass, please feel free to do so. Yeah, the tip-off has just happened. We have Tobias Harris in the starting lineup, second game back from his ankle injury. He had been out previous games. Tobias Harris was kind of lights out. Not kind of. He was lights out. Lights out. Hitting his shots, knocking them down. He's going to have a big game in this game as well. And that is something I also want to point out. Let me see, one second. Pull this up real quick because I want to get all my stats ready because I'm going to be going back and forth. If you have any questions, comments, please feel free to put it in the chat. Yup. What up, though? William Hersgod, it's good to see you in the chat. Salute. I'm going to let folks continue to trickle in. Rewound it to the jump ball. If you haven't had an opportunity to go ahead and smash the like button, please go ahead and do that. If you haven't had an opportunity to queue up your NBA League Pass, please feel free to do that. I'm reviewing the game on November 26th. It is I believe, the third game back for the Jaden Ivey, Tobias Harris back into their lineups and roles. Jaden Ivey is on a strict minutes restriction. He only plays about 14 and a half minutes in this game. It's an interesting game. All right. Daniss Jenkins is reduced to a new role. I think Karis LeVert was just kind of coming back here as well. There's a lot of fluctuation in our rosters. Daniss Jenkins had been starting previously, and now all of a sudden he is relegated to the bench in a very small role. It's very interesting. All right. Y'all ready to go? Y'all ready to rock? Let's do it. All right. Now, the Boston Celtics are starting Luka Garza instead of Nemias Queta. I'm guessing that this was a ploy. Actually, you know what? Queta does not play in this game at all. They actually have their G Leaguer. What's his name? Williams is their backup center. Nemias Queta does not play in this game. I think they tried to start off with Luka Garza to get some threes, but immediately, first Boston Celtics offensive possession, Jaylen Brown against Asar Thompson. He gets ripped by Asar Thompson. And I don't know if Jaylen Brown did or didn't get the memo. Maybe he didn't get the memo. You don't just attack Asar Thompson. He's too quick. Too much lateral movement. Too quick of hands. 7-foot wingspan. 6'8", 6'9", 230 pounds. You're not going to bully him. You're not just going to run past him. Your moves, you're going to have to use a whole lot of moves. He's going to be able to take that ball. Might as well just pass it and do something else off the ball. Get you a screen, get a switch, do something else. Jaylen Brown tries him, gets ripped on his first possession. Detroit Pistons go back down the other way, and they immediately establish Duncan Robinson for the wide open three. Now, here's the thing. In this game, Cade Cunningham is very ball dominant right off the bat. And if I'm honest with you, it's something that we've seen since then, especially recently. We have shifted out of that. This is no longer a team that is going to say, Cade, you're going to run the entire program. You're going to run the entire show. That is not how the Detroit Pistons operate at their best. The reality is Asar Thompson probably does a better job setting the table for our team. He's able to get up the court with his speed, put a lot of pressure on the opposing team's defense, get into the cracks of the defense early on, collapse it, kick the ball out, and get them into that kind of penetrate and kick, and then attack closeout type of an offense that creates easy baskets. Detroit Pistons start off this game pretty strong, creating turnovers, getting rebounds, getting out in transition. And they're already up 5-0 with 9 minutes and 50 seconds left to go in the first. Jaylen Brown gets downhill, gets to the rack. He's able to draw a foul on Jalen Duren. Now, this is something that Jalen Duren has had to improve upon, if I'm honest with you. Many times he would commit very silly fouls. And when I say silly fouls, I mean unnecessary. In this play, Jaylen Brown attacks his mismatch. He does not have Asar Thompson on him. He immediately, wisely, aggressively attacks the rim. Jalen Duren stonewalls him, right? Has his verticality, jumps straight up, hands straight up, and then at the last minute, he comes down. And this is the thing. It takes a lot of discipline to take that bump in the chest, to feel like you can maybe get that block, but keep your hands straight up, vertical. The reason why is because this allows you to be able to ensure that they have to have that trajectory to shoot over the top, even once they take the bump and try to release the ball. It also prevents you from getting the little foul, which in this case, is trying to block the shot. Remember, Jaylen Brown has a 6'10", 6'11" wingspan, right? It might even be 7 feet. At 6'7", he can hang in the air. If you reach down and try to block that shot, you're likely going to come up short. Against another guy with a smaller wingspan, you might have been able to get that block. But the thing is, it's not worth it. When you're already in position, now's not the time to go for that block. Just maintain verticality. All right, so this is one of the small things. Jaylen Brown, a few possessions later, gets right back to the free throw line. Pump fakes Duncan Robinson, gets him in the air, gets to the free throw line. Now, this is, if I'm honest with you, this is the one thing that I'm kind of concerned about. Duncan Robinson. I love Duncan. I love D-Rob, right? I love our sniper. I love Hawkeye from the Avengers. He shoots 3 of 8 from the three-point line. But he's also somewhat of a cone on defense. Now, his team defense, his help defense is great. He's always in position. Duncan Robinson is always in position. He makes the rotation. He makes the tag. He does the things that you want to see. But on the ball, Duncan Robinson is absolutely a cone. He just doesn't move his feet laterally well enough. And so in this game, Peyton Pritchard, guys like that, take advantage of him. Duncan Robinson takes advantage of him. Derrick White takes advantage of him. Now, right off the bat here, we see Ausar Thompson, as he brings the ball up, he's very hesitant in this game. Right off the bat, first quarter. I want you to contrast what you see from Ausar Thompson at the beginning of this game versus the beginning of the last game. Ausar Thompson, beginning of the last game, is extremely aggressive, looking to get downhill, gets to the free throw line. In this game, he barely gets past half court, and he's just looking to pass the ball. He's looking to just give it up. The reason why that's important to point out is because your ability to collapse the other team's defense, to break them down and get them into a scramble mode, is something that every team wants to try to do. That is one of the simplest forms of offense. You get past your man, get downhill to the rim. Another guy has to slide over and rotate and help. And then from that help, now you make the read, you pass to the open man, and now that team is scrambling. They're scrambling to try to contest shots. What that does for you is it allows you to have very simple reads. I'm either going to shoot the open shot, which is one of the highest percentage shots, especially jump shots, or you're now attacking a closeout, which the defense is already at a disadvantage, right? Now I'll say a few possessions later, Ausar Thompson rips Peyton Pritchard. I guess Boston didn't get the memo. Don't attack this guy. He rips him, ends up knocking the ball off his leg, goes out of bounds. Detroit basketball possession. Later on in that play, Jalen Duren is going to drive to the basket, sees Ausar Thompson in the dunker spot, drops it off to him. He gets fouled, gets to the free throw line. The Detroit Pistons getting to the free throw line with regularity. And the reality is, Boston doesn't do the best job of containing on the perimeter. They have good length, good athleticism, right? Hugo Gonzalez, Jordan Walsh, Jaylen Brown, Derrick White. These guys have good size on the perimeter to contest shots and to even rebound to a degree. But they don't have guys who can move their feet laterally outside of Derrick White, maybe Jaylen Brown. But Jaylen Brown has such a offensive load. You don't want him, at least I would say the Boston Celtics do not want him anywhere near guarding the ball handler. They don't want him guarding the other team's best offensive player, even secondary offensive player. He's just needed too much on the offensive end to be able to create. And we see some turnovers by the Detroit Pistons here. But it's a good look, trying to get the ball up in transition from Ausar Thompson to Jalen Duren. Uh, Luka Garza misses his first three. This was something I was actually kind of shocked that the Boston Celtics did not attempt to do more, was to get up more threes against the Detroit Pistons front line. I thought I would have done the very first play, Luka Garza, pick and pop, force Duran to try to close out. Let's see if we can get Garza going, shooting threes. If he knocks down a few threes in that first quarter, I think it would have opened things up a whole lot quicker. All this to say, it's a back and forth game. Cade Cunningham with the dime to Jaylen Duran in transition. It's an 8-0 run, timeout Boston, 6 minutes and 37 seconds left in the quarter. Uh, I would say a distinct 100% advantage that the Detroit Pistons have over the Boston Celtics is that Boston doesn't rebound. They're not a strong rebounding team. We're going to out rebound them. We should out rebound them heavily in this game. I mean, it should be kind of ugly. It should be very lopsided. Now, they should have Nemias Queta back. They probably won't play Luka Garza. Lately, they've been doing like a kind of a small ball lineup off the bench with Josh Minott at center, small ball center, going with Sam Hauser and Shireman and uh, Hugo Gonzalez and some of these other guys. Let me see who else they have coming off the bench. Anthony Simons as well. All right. And they try to spread you out, get up a bunch of threes, push tempo. But they don't rebound. And I watched a little bit of the game of the Boston Celtics against the Milwaukee Bucks, which Boston lost. It was in Milwaukee. This current game that we're watching is in Boston. But in Milwaukee, Boston gives up a big lead, allows Milwaukee to come all the way back and actually win the game. Now, this is a Milwaukee Bucks without Giannis Antetokounmpo. What's his name? Kevin Porter Jr., who I keep saying is an all-star level point guard, especially in the Eastern Conference. But just talent-wise, he's an all-star. And in that game, what's his name? Bobby Portis absolutely destroys him. Absolutely. And Kyle Kuzma. But Bobby Portis destroys him. They had no solution for him on the interior. And if anything, I don't know if the backup center. What's going on, Ghost Keeper? Salute. It's good to see you in the chat. Abstratas, yo, it's good. It's good to see you in the chat. J Rock, it's good to see you in the chat. Going over a rewatch of the Boston Celtics, Detroit Pistons on November 26th. We have them on Monday, and it's an opportunity for us to take a look at what they're doing. Now, here's the thing. Boston ends up winning this game by 3. And if I remember correctly, this was a game Tobias Harris was just coming back. It's like his second game back. Jaden Ivey, it was his second game back. Now, I will say this. Aaron Williams for the Boston Celtics, I think he went undrafted or he was their second-round draft pick out of, was it Kentucky? Kansas? Played actually really well against us. He's a pretty skilled big man, a legit 7-footer. I liked him a lot. Played really well against us. Boston better play him. Because if they try to go small with Josh Minott again, Isaiah Stewart is going to destroy Josh Minott. The way Bobby Portis was able to destroy him in the post, in that second unit, got whatever he wanted around the rim, and even got his jump shot going. Isaiah Stewart had a big game the last game against the Atlanta Hawks. I 100% see Isaiah Stewart having a big game again. Now, Boston is able to kind of get themselves going as the subs come in. We have Karis LeVert and Duncan Robinson in the game at the same time, along with Cade Cunningham. This is not, at the time, this was not really a good look. Karis LeVert's defense was just really bad. He was in to really create his own offense. Uh, that is his role. But guys are still trying to figure out how to play off of one another. And if there's one thing that you can see the contrast between what we did against the Hawks last night and what you're going to see in this game on the 26th is that the Detroit Pistons look very disjointed still. Like they're still figuring it out, but they're disjointed. They do not have a clear sense of how to play off of each other, the different roles, what to expect. They're doing their best to get into position. They're doing their best to make the rotation. Um, but that's at best. It's rough. Guys are still kind of standing and watching. Guys are still kind of doing the Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren show, right? Where we're not necessarily running any secondary action out of that. We're not necessarily hitting the second or third option from that pick and roll lob threat, right? We are very much so operating a very one-dimensional, two-dimensional offense. The complexities that we saw in our offense against the Atlanta Hawks, completely different. After this 5-day break, what we were doing was completely different. I think in this game, when I saw Jaden Ivey and Karis LeVert on the floor at the same time, it gets even worse defensively in terms of containing on the perimeter. This is where Peyton Pritchard is able to start really getting himself going. And Peyton Pritchard is probably their second best offensive player, probably been one of the most consistent offensive players. In this game, he shoots 5 of 10 from the field, 4 of 7 from 3. On this play right now, Jaylen Brown is able to blow by Ron Holland, straight line drive. Ron Holland is still kind of finding himself in this game. Jaden Ivey makes a great penetrating kick play, but the pass is a little bit off. And there's something that you notice about this game early on. A lot of the passes are just off, just a little bit, just a little bit too high, too low, too far to the side. Versus the previous game against the Atlanta Hawks, the passes look crisp. There was a certain level of definitive awareness of where to find the guy and how to deliver that pass on point. Chris Paul used to talk about hitting someone in the seams, right? That means that the ball, and this is where some point guards would do. I would do this after I heard about it. I was like, oh, that's really dope. Is the ability to pass the ball, not just where your player likes it, right? Most shooters want the ball right here in the shooter's pocket where they can go straight up into the shot. That means usually chest high between chest and shoulders, right in here. This is the shooter's pocket. This is where they want the ball. But you would get the seams up. So you would actually rotate the ball in your hands. You'd have a feel for it. So you'd be dribbling the ball and you would see them get open. And as you're picking up the ball to pass it with the chest pass, you would turn the seams so that the seams are going up. The seams are going across like this to catch the ball so that when you catch the ball, you catch it on your hand, on your fingertips with the seams already up. So as a shooter, you don't have to rotate the ball. The reason why this is important is because the rotation on the ball impacts if it hits the rim, which way it goes. So if it hits the front of the rim or the back of the rim, it will have the ability to actually roll forward or roll back towards the inside of the basket. So a lot of shooters, when they catch the ball, they will immediately rotate the ball so that the seams are up. Gives them that little extra advantage. It's the difference between shooting 3 of 8 and potentially 4 of 8 or 5 of 8. There's a difference between hitting your first shot or hitting that third shot, right? It makes a huge difference. In this game, Isaiah Stewart is already bullying the Boston Celtics second unit, getting on the offensive glass. Absolutely beasting out. He's also getting into it a little bit, back and forth, yelling at the ref. I think he's mad because Aaron Williams grabbed his locks, which is kind of a no-no. I got locks myself, and when I play, if somebody grabs your locks on any play, it's almost like you about to punch him in the face. It's like, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? That's like putting me in a headlock. That's like hitting me in the head, essentially. Like we don't do that. Yeah, I used to be a hothead when I used to play street ball. I used to play street ball 7 days a week. Um, I didn't really play that. But most dudes who have locks, you don't ever grab the locks. Either way is to say that this is also a play where guys want to get into Isaiah Stewart's head. They just do. Isaiah Stewart is just that important to our team and what we're doing out there on the court. 100%. They want to get Isaiah Stewart unfocused. out of the game. All right, we're back from a timeout. Pistons are up 11 with 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go. 27-16, Detroit. Daniss Jenkins is finally in the game. They finally have some perimeter defense along with Isaiah Stewart. Those two, between Daniss Jenkins, Ron Holland, Isaiah Stewart, we lock up. The rotations are good. The communication is great. We contain. It looks really good. Now that Karis LeVert, Jaden Ivey are doing a better job of being locked in defensively, moving their feet, make sure that they're playing defense with their feet and not their hands, not just reaching in. Now it's kind of all coming together that much more. It's all kind of working. But then every once in a while, when the Detroit Pistons decide to sub out Ivey and they bring in Javonte Green, and we go Daniss Jenkins, Javonte Green, Ron Holland, Karis LeVert, and Isaiah Stewart, that defensive unit, we saw what they did against Atlanta, against that second unit. And to be honest, against the Boston Celtics second unit, and this was the point that I was making to the other cat who was obviously a Celtics fan, who was kind of like talking a lot of stuff about the Pistons. And we were going back and forth, you know. It's probably the reason why we're doing this live, doing the rewatch today instead of tomorrow. It's because of the back and forth. Look, hey, I'm very competitive. I love trash talk. I trash talk in dominoes. I trash talk in spades. I trash talk in basketball. It's just what I do. All right. If you got smoke, I'm here for all of it. But if you call me on it, I'm gonna pull your card. I'm gonna be like, hey, don't forget. Now, I had to give it to him. Boston did get the win. But let's be clear. The game that we played on the 26th is not who we are last night at all. Shireman is not getting off on us like that. Hauser is not getting off like that. Sorry. The stuff that they were able to get away with, the shots that we miss, Jaden Ivey still trying to get his legs, missing some open look threes. His pass is a little bit off. You know, it's just one of those situations where it's just like, man, if you think that that's the team that's coming out next time, right? Like Peyton Pritchard able to give Karis LeVert the little hand step back. Yo, I like Peyton Pritchard. I fuck with him. Peyton Pritchard, I followed him since he was at Oregon, right? He was a bucket in high school. He did his thing in high school. High level recruit. Went to college at Oregon, did his thing, got drafted, bided his time, got stronger, fine-tuned his game, and now he's balling out for the Boston Celtics as a starter. Are you from Oregon? That's what's up. That's what's up. I'm here in Cali right now. All this to say is that the baskets that Peyton Pritchard was able to get on the 26th is not what he's going to be looking at on Monday. Let me be 100% clear. Sorry, I got a crook in my neck. God damn. Is not who he's going to see on the 26th. Best believe you're going to get a heavier dose. Daniss Jenkins, Ron Holland. Isaiah Stewart's going to be more locked in. Ivey and Karis are going to be more locked in. This team is going to be Boston might have a rude awakening. If all you got is one guy to initiate offense. In fact, I would guard Peyton Pritchard 94 feet. I would slow down that second unit's offense big time. Big time by guarding him 94 feet. I put Daniss Jenkins on him and just look to turn him over and over. Put Ron Holland on him, turn him. Jaden Ivey, turn him. Because that second unit for the Boston Celtics is not a strong half-court scoring unit at all. At all. Their best offense in that second unit is just what we call run and gun. Run and gun. Pushing the tempo, pushing the pace, getting up threes, and getting up early and often. Their offense is basically kind of centered around the ability to get paint touches, getting downhill, get into the paint, kick it out. If anything, in this second unit, what I would have focused on a little bit more is less trying to stop the offensive player from driving to the basket, and more on just staying home with the shooters. Look, if Josh Minott can drive to the basket, right? He does a little penetrating kick right now, kicks it out to Shireman for the open three. But really, it's because he drove and we got a little bit extra help. I think it was from Ron Holland or Daniss Jenkins. Helped a little bit too much. And next thing you know, Shireman's wide open. Why? Let Josh Minott ball out. If he's going to drive to the rack, try to score against Isaiah Stewart, let's see it. Let's see it. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got. In this game, ironically, Josh Minott actually kind of goes off. He only hits 3 for 6 from the field, but it felt like more. He hits both his threes, and it's during a point in the game where the momentum completely shifts. We have a couple of bad plays back to back to back, where one, we overhelp on Josh Minott. He kicks out to Shireman for a wide open three. Then he comes down, has a pull-up three on Jalen Duren. Remember, they want to shoot a lot of threes against Duren and Isaiah Stewart. And then Duren fouls him, giving up a 4-point play. All right. Isaiah Stewart has already had to come out the game in foul trouble because he's picking up bad, chippy fouls. Right. On the defensive rebound, he's pushing instead of boxing out. On this other play right here, I'm trying to get the words right because I'm also watching the game. Isaiah Stewart also fouls on a offensive rebound. No, not even offensive rebound. He's trying to box out and establish position under the basket. And he's a little bit too aggressive, fouls Minott, instead of just settling down, sealing his man. Right? A couple of bad fouls, chippy fouls. I think this was a game afterwards. If you followed my other live I did after this game, I was really critical of Isaiah Stewart. That I was like, it felt selfish to get so in your head that you didn't realize how important you are for this team. This section of the game, early in the second quarter, Isaiah Stewart's play really helps initiate a Boston Celtics run. Currently, 10 minutes and 53 seconds left to go in the first quarter. It is a 17-4 run. 17-4 run by Boston. Shireman, Josh Minott, Peyton Pritchard doing their thing. These were unexpected buckets. Let me be clear with you. There are certain buckets as a coach you anticipate being able to get. You really create a system to hopefully maximize what you can get out of guys that really sometimes can't create shots on their own, or to hopefully get as many easy looks as possible along the way. Against a top defensive team, which the Detroit Pistons are, you're hoping that it generates enough offense to keep you in the game that allows your starters, your star players to bring you on home. The reality is it created way more offense than I even think what's his name, the head coach for the Boston Celtics, even imagined it would. A 17-4 run against our bench unit. Jaden, Ivey, Karis LeVert, not a lot of defense in there. And next thing you know, they have the lead. It's now 33-30 with 10 minutes and 45 seconds left to go. All right. Our starters are back in the game way earlier. Joe Mazzulla, thank you. Way earlier than we would have wanted. Cade Cunningham is kind of having to dominate this game to keep us in it. Now, I'll say this. Boston is no slouch. They are locked into what their system is. They're locked into the expectations and the roles on this team, which is why they play so efficiently around Jaylen Brown. It is a well-oiled machine. But some of the areas in which we dominate, we were not able to because of Stewart's foul trouble. Because of guys just coming back from injury, getting reacclimated into the lineup. Guys are kind of slinging the ball around. You could tell Ron Holland is still kind of figuring out how to play in his role. He's kind of putting up shots as I'm watching this kind of back and forth, up and down sequence. Ron Holland is really still finding himself, making one-handed passes, kickouts after trying to like drive and then turn it into a post-up and then kicking the ball out with one hand. It's kind of an off pass. Then he's like doing a catch and shoot three. It was supposed to be a catch and shoot three, and it's kind of like pump faked, and then he's then shooting it over the outstretched arms. It's a brick, of course. Kind of fumbling the ball. Guys are still trying to figure it out. Cade is on the perimeter, and he's having a wave Javante Green through. He's like, "Yo, you're supposed to cut already." And Javante's like, "Oh, my bad," And he's like, "Cut it!" Like we're very disjointed offensively in this game. And when you contrast that, and I'm going to keep referencing that because the team that you see after a 5-day break is not the team that you're seeing here playing the NBA Cup in Boston. Daniss Jenkins has a new role, position, right? He was starting, all of a sudden now he's coming off the bench. He only gets like 9 minutes in this game, when beforehand he was playing starter minutes, getting 30-something minutes and having a big role. Everyone is still adjusting. Continuity is something that for teams means a lot, especially when you get into the playoffs. But even throughout the regular season, when you have continuity, you save a lot of energy. You make the game easy. I shared a story a long time ago about when I was young, probably like 21, 22 years old. Me and a bunch of my boys who hooped, played college ball, stuff like that. We go to this basketball court because back then, people still played outside. Remember back then when people still played outside? We go to this court and we're ready to run cats off like we got brothers at 6'5", windmill dunking. We throwing lobs to each other. We out there, y'all can't do shit. You know what I mean? People like, oh, you trying to run with us? Like, no, we got our squad. We got our squad. You know how it is. When you bring your squad, like, nah, we'll wait. We'll be 2 games down, 3 games down. Nah, we'll wait. We ain't tripping. Because we finna be here all day. You look around like, nah, we gonna be here all day. We ain't playing with y'all. We got our squad. That's how we feel. And we get there and we think that we're balling out and we're going to run these teams off the court. There's this OG squad that was on the court. They had a couple tall dudes, 6'4", 6'2", but a bunch of guys who just knew how to play. And you could tell that they played together all the time because shortly after the game started, very quickly, they would just get out ahead. All of a sudden, it's 5-2, 7-3, 9-5. Oh, now it's 11-5. Whoa, what's going on? All of a sudden, we're like, hey, y'all, all right, let's lock in. We going to 15. Let's go. We think we locked in, and all of a sudden, they know they just got 4 points to go. They do a little slip screen, backdoor action, layup. Somebody cherry picks at the right moment. What? Of course, they get that little lucky 2-point shot with somebody with the broke-looking jump shot that everyone knows always goes in. There's a little behind the head, slings that thing, and it hits for 2, 3, 4 feet behind the 3-point line. This is before it got popular to shoot behind the 3-point line. And all of a sudden, it's game, and we're stunned. We lost that thing 15-9. Never really in the game. It was ugly. We were shocked. Continuity. Trust, understanding of expectations and roles will outperform talent every time. You can have talent, but if you don't know how to play together, really doesn't mean much. All right, so now it's a 35-35 game, 7 minutes and 36 seconds left to go in the second quarter, in the first half. Daniss Jenkins is deployed on Anthony Simons, who's their primary ball handler with Derrick White. And he guards him 94 feet. Ends up taking an ugly shot. No one else touches the ball. And Daniss Jenkins does a great job containing. I expect to see a whole lot more of that. I want to see us turn the tables. Something that Boston did really well against us the first time we played. This is the second time we would play them in the NBA Cup here. But I want to say a few games prior, we had faced the Boston Celtics. And one of the things that they did against us that was really effective is that they guarded us 94 feet, but they had multiple players to do so. So they had Hugo Gonzalez out there at the time. He started against Cade Cunningham. Then they had Derrick White, started against Asar Thompson. So they basically took whoever was going to be our offensive initiator and said, "We are going to wear you out." Now, the thing at the time, Asar Thompson was still kind of getting warmed up, right? He's still figuring himself out. He's not the same Asar Thompson then as he is now. This Asar Thompson would blow past his man. In that game, however, they created a lot of turnovers. Josh Minott came in the game, was able to knock the ball loose. Cade Cunningham get caught in his spots just past half court, picking up the ball, playing with it too much, and it gets knocked out of his hands. And next thing you know, they get the steal going the other way. One of the things that they have been able to do is pressure our ball handlers. I think in this game, we're going to see something completely different. We're going to see something completely different. Now, here we see Asar Thompson get downhill, gets to the rim. And these are the flashes that I always talk about. Asar Thompson, when he is in attack mode and he's actually focused on looking to score and then looking to create or facilitate out of his offensive aggression, there's very few people who can do anything with him. Athletically, when he puts his head down, as long as he maintains his handle, he's getting wherever he wants. He's too strong, too long of a stride, too good of length, 7-foot wingspan. He's got the verticality to jump and finish over the top of you. He's got the touch around the rim with both hands. But there's times where he forgets for some reason. It's like he will drive to the basket, but he's not even looking at the rim. And he doesn't realize he's 5 feet from the rim, but he's just looking to pass the ball to somebody. And it's something that at times is frustrating, but I have to remind myself he was still figuring it out. He's still figuring it out. Now, in this game, he's also hesitating a lot in this first half. Does a little turnaround jump shot, but it's not smooth. It's not smooth. It's still like, okay, yeah, that's right. I have this move. Let me try to remember to do this move instead of like, let me just go right into my move. Just go right into it. When I want to shoot, no one can do anything with it. No one can do anything with it. The offensive aggression is something that we hope to see more from Asar Thompson. And against the Atlanta Hawks, we saw it. Not only did it look smooth, it looked dangerous. It looked dangerous. It looked like what I keep telling y'all. He's a bigger Amen Thompson. Very similar play style. Very similar. Very similar. Yes, he has all the tools. Yep, Ghost Keeper, you're right. Asar and Ron have been rolling lately. They've settled into their roles. They've worked on fine-tuning the peripheral aspects of their game, right? The timing, when to attack, seeing the floor, seeing the openings, what to do if somebody rotates over, right? Doing all the right things so that it's when they attack the basket, it's smooth, it's efficient, it's effective. They get exactly where they're trying to go. They know what type of shot they are going into. They generally make their correct reads. And it has looked so much more effective within this offensive flow. Now, I'll say this in this game. Derrick White gets into foul trouble in the first half. So he's relegated mostly ineffective and inconsequential in the first half. He goes absolutely ape in the second half going into the fourth quarter. He goes absolutely ape. I think he was on his donut. I don't even think he had scored in the first half. And then in the second half, all of a sudden he has track this again. Let's make me reload. Come on now. All right. The second half, Derrick White ends up shooting 7 of 13 from the field, 6 of 11 from 3 in the second half. Like, I'm going to be real with you. And he got to the free throw line, 7 of 7 from the free throw line. If they're expecting Derrick White to have 27 points again, they're kidding themselves. The reality is Boston relies upon their system to generate offense. They don't necessarily have a lot of players who can generate their own offense outside of Jaylen Brown, who really carries much of this offense, and maybe some Peyton Pritchard. A little bit of Anthony Simons off the bench. They really don't have a lot of guys who can create their own offense. Derrick White does a decent job, but if they're expecting him to get 27 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, and a block, maybe the steals and the blocks. He does a lot of that. All right. He comes in and he rips Jaden Ivey from behind. Derrick White is a lot faster than a lot of people realize. A lot faster. He's able to catch up, get those knockaways from behind. But the reality is he is not a major offensive generator. He's not. He's not going to get you 20-plus points a game. That's just not who he is naturally, even at his best. Even in this type of situation where you ask him to score a lot. He's averaging 17, 4, and 5 at 31 years old. He will never have this big of a role ever again. Let me be clear. Best case scenario, you do not want Derrick White having a role this big. Remember, on the championship team, he's behind Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, probably behind Drew Holiday in terms of offensive options, behind Kristaps Porzingis. And then you get to Derrick White, probably your fourth or fifth option in a starting lineup for a championship team. That's who he is. So when you look at his season that he's having today, this is probably the best you're going to see of Derrick White. To expect him to get 27 points again is just be, okay, yeah, right. He's really 12, 15 point scorer. That's who he really is. And I think if we have guys like Asar Thompson on him, we have our second unit with Daniss Jenkins, Ron Holland, Isaiah Stewart locked in. You're going to see a somewhat stifled Derrick White. That would be my anticipation. Now, I'm not saying he can't go off again. I mean, it's the NBA. It's the NBA. Anyone can go off at any time. Ooh. Asar Thompson turns it over, and then Jaylen Brown goes down the other way, thinks he has a wide open layup. Then Asar Thompson just beats his shit off the glass. Oh, wow. Blocks it with his elbow. Jaylen Brown has a little gripe. He did get tripped by Karis LeVert. All to say is Asar Thompson, when he's on Jaylen Brown, he has neutralized Jaylen Brown. I keep telling y'all, the Detroit Pistons have one of the most phenomenal defensive players in the NBA. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely a headache. Absolutely lights out. Shuts you down. If he's on you, you just kind of just swing the ball. And it's something that, man, I didn't really ever have to do until I remember so I used to coach basketball. I coached a high school team over at Overfelt High School in San Jose. And we had this team of young guys from their freshman year, sophomore years, all the way through graduation. We had this group. It was a really special group. We had a state championship run. We didn't win it, but we had a great run. Great season. There was this young man by the name of D'Angelo Jackson. He's played some overseas down in like Mexico, Brazil, stuff like that. But he was a young athlete, somewhat of a hothead. And in this little friend circle of group on the team, this other young man by the name of Reginald Hunter. And really good player, ended up playing over at San Jose City College. They were both tall, athletic, long, very quick. And the thing is, when I was coaching them, I gave them all my special sauce, all the defense that I love to play, all the ways in which I used to love to attack offensive players. I taught them all the secrets of the trade, how to get into a guy, how to move your feet, how to stay low, stay disciplined, use your length, anticipate stepping instead of hopping, how to open up your hips, how to use your body to get the bump, take the bump, right, and still be able to maintain position. I gave them all the tricks of the trade because we're trying to win. Well, lo and behold, these mother suckers end up using that against me. Bro, I'm now my mid to late 20s. Here these cats are in their early 20s now. Early 20s. I think at the time, probably the last time I played them, I was like 30, right? I was kind of grown, working a lot. I didn't play as much. They did. They kept playing constantly. They were hoopers. Street ball, open gyms, open runs, semi-pro leagues, all of it. They're hooping. One day we in the gym, we laughing it up, and this dude tries to guard me 94 feet. I was hot. D'Angelo. I was hella mad. And I was like, man, I can't believe. And I started feeling disrespected. But they did every trick of the trade. And I'm telling you, there's certain guys who have a certain level of athleticism and length, speed, discipline, physicality, toughness. When they start combining all those things with their youthful energy, bro, it's at 30, against a 23-year-old, 24-year-old, playing semi-pro, it was ugly. I had to use every trick in the book just to get any type of shot off. They did their thing. Sar Thompson is just that in this league. He's a nuisance. He's disrespectful. One of the best defenders in the league. And you're talking about perimeter defenders, he might be the best perimeter defender in the league. 94 feet. He can guard you. There's nothing you can do about it. I fully expect Asar Thompson to have a dominant performance. I expect the Detroit Pistons to have a dominant performance. I know, what happened to respecting your elders? Not that day. That really wasn't how we hooped. We looked to get everybody off the court. We didn't care about anybody. And we was talking trash on your neck. But hey, the first half is winding up. Boston Celtics have the lead. Jaylen Brown has found his rhythm. Detroit, still a bit disjointed. They're still figuring themselves out. It's a competitive game. We know what happens. Boston pulls away. We might watch a little bit tomorrow for the second half and talk some more about it. But I actually have to go. I have a 9:30 appointment. It's a video conference. But appreciate everybody for being here. I will be back on tomorrow morning. Remember, 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, ish. All right. I'm going to get at y'all next time. Peace. Have a dope day.